Hi everyone, my name is Maria from Mamma Mia That's Italian, and today we're going to make polpettini melanzane, which is eggplant. If you see them in a restaurant, which I haven't seen at all, one time I saw it. It's called eggplant balls. It has no meat, it's all eggplant, and the ingredients are breadcrumbs, eggs, garlic, herbs, and cheese. And I had it in a restaurant one time, and they didn't taste anything like my eggplant polpettini, which means like a meatball, or you can make it into a patty shape, depending on what you like, you know, to eat it as. Like, if you have it as a side dish, I would make the patties. If you make it for an appetizer, you might want to make little balls. You can fit right into your mouth. And the ones that I make are oblong shape, which is the Calabria way of doing it. That's how we always make it. So we start now with the eggplant, which is a firm eggplant. That's what you want. You don't want too much seeds. You want it a little longer. You know, that's important. And it can't be soft. That means it's old. So we'll start cut the top off and the back. And then we'll peel it, because I don't like the peel. Some people do. Some people leave it on. Sometimes it's hard to chew, so I like to peel it. Or I may leave a little bit, like I could feel it that it's very soft, so I will leave part of it on. You see, like that. So it'll look like that. Because you could tell right away how the peel is. If it's very thick, you know it's not going to be good. It's very hard to chew. And because they're nice and firm, it's much easier to peel. You can see these are very nice ones. And when you buy them, you put them in the fridge. When I come home, I put them right into the fridge until I'm ready to cook them. So I don't know, is that in the way? So what I'm going to do is cut it in half. And then you have the flat piece down, and you make slices, and then little pieces. Little chunks. So they all cook evenly, like that. You can see. Of course it's going to cook down. I'm going to steam it, which means you put a little bit of water in it. Eggplant has a lot of water already in it. So I'm going to steam the whole thing, make it soft, so we could roll them into patties or balls or oblong. So that's one. Do the other. You have to be careful with the round shape. So we'll slice them long ways. Okay. And in Italy, And here too, we always make them in the summertime. My mother and myself, we really, I don't think I ever made them in the winter. It's always when the eggplant is fresh and grown fresh. If you have a garden and you have, that's even better. They taste so much better. Okay, so now we have the 2 eggplants in here. So I'm going to put a little bit of water so that they can steam. I don't have a cup here. I'll get a cup. I'll put a little bit more, maybe 2 cups of water. They don't have to be completely covered. It's just going to steam. And then we'll put the gas on and we'll let it cook for 10-15 minutes. I'll check it at 10 minutes and see how it goes. But 10 or 15 should do it, and then it'll be nice and soft. In the meantime, I'll clean up and get the garlic cleaned up and open the eggs up and get them ready to mix it all together. Okay. And we'll set the timer for 10 minutes. Okay. The 10 minutes are up, and you can see here that some of them are still pale white, and some of them have changed to this color, the darker color. So that's when they're cooked. So I'm going to put the white pieces down into the water for them to cook completely. And then we'll be ready for our next step. So we're all done. As you can see, it's all like different color now. You could tell it's all cooked. So I'm going to drain it into the sink like you would pasta. Okay, my glasses are all steamy. Okay. So this is what you get out of 2 eggplants. As you can see, there's a lot of water coming out. You want all that to come out. You don't want it completely dry, but dry enough, as much as you can. Push them down so that all the water, excess water comes out. As you can see, it's still coming out. So time-wise, we usually have to wait this to cool before we put everything together, or like the meatballs. So I'm going to use cold water to make it a little colder so I can handle it. Let's see if that works. If it's cold enough, you can even squeeze it in your hands, in your fist. And while I'm doing this, I'm kind of like chopping up the pieces of eggplant. and releasing the water out of it. Okay, so now I'll put it in the bowl. I don't know, can you see this in the bowl? I'm just chopping it up, chopping up into smaller pieces. Of course, there's always more moisture coming out. So, you know, you have to make them like so that you can shape them. So you may need to have extra breadcrumbs if needed. See if we could cool it off while I'm doing all this. All right, so I'm going to peel the garlic. I have one great big garlic clove. I would put, if I use 2 eggplants, that's how I go by how much to put in. I use 2 cloves of garlic and 2 eggs, a cup of breadcrumbs, a cup of cheese, any kind of cheese. You have pecorino, parmigiano. Of course, the garlic has to be very thin. You don't want big pieces of it in your mouth. And if you don't have fresh garlic, you could use garlic powder. It's okay. You know, you have to make do with what you have. But fresh garlic is really good in this dish. So I'm making it as small as I can. This is the end. You see? And chop it up even more. Make it as small as possible. This is only half. I think I'll put the other one in, the other half. Like I said, any kind of garlic you have, whether you buy it already chopped in a jar, or you have fresh, or you have powder. But this is the original recipe, so I'm doing it that way. Okay, so. Now you know how to get the smell out of your hands after you do this with fresh garlic. All you have to do is, under cold water, just touch something out of metal. So what I do is I put the cold water on and I rub my hands on the knife that I have here. It's metal. Actually, my sink is metal also, so you can just rub them. It's already gone. That's it. No smell. Okay, so now we have the garlic in here, mixed with the eggplant. I will put a little salt and pepper to taste. And I also, the Calabrese use pepperoncini, which I have right here. I like a little bit of flavor, a little heat, just a pinch. Too much. And then I have the eggs. I think I'll wait on the eggs because it's still hot here and I don't want them to cook. So maybe it'll cool off a little bit more. Oh, that smells so good already. All right, so now I have the herbs. What I put in here is a little bit of basil and parsley. Parsley is a must. So what I have is frozen parsley from last year that I froze and out of my fresh plants outside. And here's a little bit of basil. So you see it does turn to a different color, but it still has the flavor. So I'm using a little bit of basil, but mostly parsley. If you have fresh, use fresh. If you have dry, use dry. You can use any kind that you have, but it would be good to put it in. If you don't have it, that's okay too. But it gives it a nice flavor. So I'm cutting the stems off. Don't want the stems. And then we're going to slice into small pieces. So that's how it looks when it's frozen. I use it in my sauce in the winter. And now I'm going to slice it into small pieces. My spices this year are not doing too well outside. I'm sorry, not my spices, my herbs. The weather is not, it was too cold, now it's too hot, too much rain. So, okay, so we have the parsley and the basil. Okay, now we'll put the breadcrumbs in. I would start with a cup of breadcrumbs. Now, breadcrumbs, you know, I use the Italian styles. Seasoned or unseasoned is fine. These are seasoned. You can use bread, you know, soak the bread in water or milk and squeeze it out and put that in. I don't know if you could see this, but you see how the bread comes in there. So you start with a cup and then you add more depending on the moisture of the eggplant. If you see big chunks, try to cut them up. Now that first step that I did by boiling them, you could also put the whole eggplant in the oven. If you don't want to boil it, just put the whole thing in the oven and cook it for like 45 minutes. And it's nice and soft. And then when it comes out, you just cut it in half and with a spoon, just spoon out the middle of it. That's another recipe that I have also, that I just use the inside, the inside of the eggplant, and put garlic and olive oil on it, and it's a dip. It's really delicious. Or you could use to make it into the patties or the egg melanzane, polpettini. Now here's my cheese. I like a lot of cheese in it. So it's cool enough, so I'll put the eggs in. To bind it. Mix it well. Now it's soft again, so I'm going to need more breadcrumbs. And more cheese. Yeah, I'm afraid these are still too soft, as you can see. Like a little bit more body to them so I can roll them. But that's how it should look. You know. That's all that goes into it. So now we're going to shape them. And before we fry them, we roll them into the breadcrumbs again. Might as well use the rest of this. So this is where you put your hands in it. Make some room. I still feel like it's too soft. Okay, so this is where you shape them. It's still a little warm. You shape them into this kind of a shape. That's how we do it. But like I said, you could do them round, you could do patties, and then you put them on the side, and you make the rest of it. I make all the polpettinis. Polpettini means small meatballs or small size, but you can make them as big as you want. You know, they just taste better when you fry them, and they're nice and crisp on the outside, and they don't absorb a lot of oil. So it's really delicious, the combination of all these. So I think we could take a break and shape them all, and then come back and show you the frying technique. I'll clean up first. Okay, so we're back, and look, I've done quite a few already. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I've only done like half of the, maybe one eggplant so far. I have rolled into the oblong shape, as you could see. You know, you can make it round and then shape it the longer way, and then roll it into the breadcrumbs, and that's done. So we'll do one more. I'm sure you know how to do this. You roll it, and then you shape it. You could keep it round, you could make a patty if you want, not as big as a hamburger, but you know, a little patty, and then roll it in the breadcrumbs, and that's ready to go. Okay, so we're at the point now that I have made all the eggplant oblong shape. I'm going to roll them and place them. I'm heating up the oil. As you see, I have vegetable oil. You can use canola oil. You could use any oil you want, but not olive oil. That'll burn. So we want it nice and hot, and it's got to be, you know, at least almost halfway to the middle of the eggplant. And you want to leave them in there without touching them because they do fall apart. So here we go. We'll put as much as we can. It's starting to bubble, so it means it's ready. If it's too hot, then you can lower it. Make sure you can control yourself with it. Don't burn yourself. Now, you can even bake these if you want. If you don't want to fry them, you can bake them. Just spray them with olive oil. Put them in a pan and spray them. and put them in the oven. I've never done it that way. I always done it this way because that's the way I'm used to it. So here we go. Little by little, it's getting there. But they're so worth it. It's so good. A lot of people, I have made this before in my videos, and I have a lot of people that come back to me and say how much they love this. Even their children, little kids love, if you make them like small enough for their mouth, you know, they could just pop it right in, and it's healthy. You kind of shake them and put them in. You want them to be nice and brown on one side before you turn them. These are better than chicken nuggets. And, you know, when you're making something like this, you have to pay attention. You know, you got to focus on what you're doing and try to enjoy it. And the people that eat it are going to love it. So they're going to be so thankful that you made them. So now I'm just tossing them aside or moving them to the side so I can put more in. They're already turning brown. You could just by looking at them, you could tell when they're done or nice and brown. Like this one's done, see? Look how nice and brown it is. You don't want them burned, but that's why you have to pay attention to them. Don't walk away when you put them in the oil. Me too. There we go. See? I think we've got enough in there right now. I'll leave these for the other pan. I'll do a whole other pan later. And that's it. We'll just work on getting these turned over. Much easier when they're cooked on one side. This is, just kind of lift it on the side to see. But these are not ready yet. This one is. Now the other thing you can do with these, once they're cooked, if you have like a marinara sauce, you can warm it up in another pan and put them into the marinara sauce. They're delicious with sauce. Or put sauce on it in your dish. Just pour the sauce over them. Well, these aren't done yet. You see how nice they look? Can you see them? Now these look like they're done. Yep, this is done. See? They don't absorb a lot of oil either. See how dry they are? Nice and dry. This is almost done. Just pay attention to them. Make them as brown as you like or as light as you like, but I like them well done, well brown. So here's another one that's done. And while they're hot, when I take them out, I put a little salt on top. That's all they need. Some of them have to be flipped over twice, depending on how your gas is and what temperature you have it set at. But I have one side that seems to cook well faster than the other side. So I have to keep an eye on them so they don't burn, like this one. And we're almost done. It's really a simple dish. It's not that difficult. They make it in Italy they came up with this idea, I think, because everyone has breadcrumbs and an egg, and the eggplant grows in the garden. They pick it, they use it. They have so many dishes, eggplant dishes that they make. And this is another one. You see how light they are? They have no oil on them. They're very light. And they're almost all done now. Now we're cooking. They're not greasy at all. You see me shuffling them to the hot spot. My daughter heard I was making these. She says, make sure you freeze some for me. I gotta have some. I said, I'll make them for you. Anytime. Okay, I'm going to shut the gas off. And they're all done. Just remove them from the oil. This is only half of the recipe that I've cooked right now, so I'll finish up the rest. Okay, now just let it cool off a bit and we'll be able to eat them. I'll taste one for you. I'm so lucky. I can't wait. My mouth is salivating. There we go. That's the last one. Okay. We'll stop for a while and let them cool off. Okay, so here we are in the final stages, and as you see, all the fried ones are there. And then I'm showing you just two of them in the sauce. I happen to have leftover sauce from the other night. So what you do is you put the eggplant into the sauce and you let it cook for a couple of minutes till it gets hot, and they do absorb some of the juices, the sauce. So when you serve them as appetizer, or this is how we eat them. Oh my God. The memories, oh gosh. Delicious. Wow, that's good. Okay, so now I'll serve them with the sauce, which is already delicious, as you know, Italian tomato sauce. So then you can eat it with a slice of bread on the side or with salad. Like I said, I wouldn't put them over pasta, but if you want to make a meal out of it, I would, nice piece of Italian bread, a lot of sauce all around it. Oh my God, I wish you could have some. I love it. Well, I hope you make it. It's not that difficult and it's delicious. So try it.